Hey friends, welcome back to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. I am Nate, coming at you today with a review of Dickel Bourbon. This is their 8-year bourbon whiskey. This comes from George Dickel. We all know it from Tullahoma, I believe. Yeah, Tullahoma, Tennessee. Dickel gets some hate. Dickel gets some love. It's really, you gotta try it for yourself before you really decide whether or not you like it or not. I've had some Dickel that I've really liked. I really like their Bottle and Bond. I'm not a fan of the number 12 recipe, and it's right there. I'm blocking it with this glass. It's right there. This is the Copper Tongue, which was 16-year barrel proof Dickel. I did not like it the first time I had it. However, I released a video about a month ago where I had it for the second time, and it had opened up, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. But usually Dickel is labeled as Tennessee whiskey. It is not labeled as bourbon. This is. Now, Tennessee whiskey does meet all the qualifications of bourbon as far as mash bill, the aging, and the minimum corn, new oak, everything like that. So it meets the qualifications of a bourbon with the added process of the Lincoln County process, the charcoal mellowing, which is a subtractive, not an additive. You're not allowed to add things to whiskey. However, charcoal mellowing is actually a subtractive method. Mellows out things, but it doesn't add anything. It's allowed to still be called bourbon, even though places like Jack Daniels and Dickel, for the most part, prefer to be called Tennessee whiskey, which is totally fine. But this they do label as bourbon. You can see it says it right on the label there, Dickel Bourbon Whiskey. It's because, in their opinion, it's a little bit different than what their normal offerings are, which means that for some people that don't like Dickel, maybe you'll like it. So this is 8-year. It comes in at 45%, so 90 proof. And yeah, so let's get this a pour. I bought this while I was in Kentucky. I bought this at Justin's House of Bourbon because you can't find it in my area. And so I saw it's a $30 bottle. So I bought it and brought it back. Is this a high rye? I'm getting quite a bit of rye on it. Sweet rye. Obviously, it's not going to give the mash bill on the bottle, but sometimes they disclose whether or not it's high rye or not. Carameling, little burnt sugar. I am picking up the charcoaliness. Ooh, that particular last nose was pretty sweet. All right, let's give this a taste. Maybe just a little bit of the mineraliness. Maybe a little. And it's on the finish. But it's not offensive to me, and it's not as much as, say, a normal Dickel product has. I rather like this, actually. This is pretty good. For a $30 bottle, I'd have one in my bar. If we're going, if I'm doing a Tennessee specific tasting, I would bring this out. Obviously, it's not Tennessee whiskey, it's bourbon, which again, they're technically the same thing, but I'm leaving technically because I'm leaving an asterisk for you to disagree with me, and that's totally fine. For you to say Tennessee whiskey is bourbon, or for you to say Tennessee whiskey is its own thing, that's fine. Whatever your opinion is, doesn't matter to me. That's why I'm leaving the asterisk for you to decide for yourself, other than to say this is pretty good. There's almost a cornbreadiness on that one. Sweet, bready, corny. I have a cornbreadness, which was really good. I had some pretty good cornbread when I was in Kentucky at Doc Crow's. All right, that's pretty good. I do like that. I'm glad to have it in my collection. At $30, I would pay $30 for it. It's a 90 proofer. Comes in. Yeah, this would be. I think that this is a good standard 90 proof. If the way I think about shelving, we always talk about bottom shelf, top shelf, things like that. I think of it as 4 shelf units. You got your stuff that you're probably like, I'm thinking of like Master's Keep. I think of like Octomore. Those are like the top shelf things, and then you've got your upper middle or your middle top shelf, and then you got your middle bottom shelf, and then you got your bottom shelf. This would be middle bottom, which would be a lot of just standard pours, and a lot of 90 proof pours fall within that. It's pretty good. That's right within there. So, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I give that a buy. If we're doing buy bar pass like Will and Grease do, it's a buy. And because it's $30. So I've had people, a couple weeks ago I was hanging out in my cigar lounge, and I'm known as the whiskey guy. For some reason they nicknamed me Whiskey Joe, which, okay, fine, but they don't know that Independent Joe exists. Otherwise I would be like, hey, call me something else, because Independent Joe, like, that's his thing. And Independent Joe is awesome and has a bigger collection than me, knows more than me, and is Independent Joe's a great guy. Check out his channel. But they were asking me about certain bottles or certain bourbons, things like that, and they mentioned Basil Hayden, and they asked me if I'd had it, and I said that I didn't. To date, I've passed on Basil Hayden, and they're like, why? And they're like, so they come in with the impression of if I haven't had something or I choose not to have something that I don't like it, but they allowed me to explain myself. And basically, I explained the fact that it's a $50 bottle for an 80 proof bourbon. For the price, I can't justify it. And I said, I'm not saying it's not good. Like, that's the thing. I am not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that I pass on it based off of price and what it is. Price for an 80 proof whiskey. $50, 80 proof whiskey. They understood after I said, and then they accepted that, especially because they're like, well, we really like it. I said, I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm not saying it's not good. It might be fantastic, and then, but at the same point, Basil Hayden is Jim Beam, and it's tucked too far back, so I'm not going to grab it. But, okay, but we got Baker's Old Granddad 114 at $25. Got a liter of Old Granddad Bonded, which is $30 for a liter. Like, for the price, I can't justify that because I can find other Jim Beam products that are significantly higher proof, that are more in my wheelhouse for significantly cheaper. So, but either way, this $30 for $7.50 of Dickel with bourbon whiskey, 8-year. Get yourself a bottle if you can find it. Add it to your collection. And so yeah, that's going to be my review of Dickel 8-year Tennessee bourbon. Cheers, friends.